Alrighty, another one. Me again. Yeah, that's best intro ever, I know, right? And you know what? We're keeping it because no matter how awkward it is, we're keeping it. One take, that's what I do. I watch a film, I sit down, I take one take review, for better or for worse. And today it's for the worse. Anyway, that being said, there will be spoilers, obviously. Well, not obviously, not everyone has spoilers. See, this is going perfect so far. What do you want from me? A proper review, yeah, that would be good, but I don't offer that kind of service. Anyway, spoiler alert, you know the drill. If you don't want the movie spoiled, well, if you watch the next part, it probably will be. So if you don't, you can skip ahead to the little timestamp thingy where it says thoughts or ratings if you just want to skip right to that. Save you like 20 minutes of rambling. And we're watching today the sequel to Ready or Not, which is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Kind of an awkward title, but that's fine. I think they should have just called it like Ready or Not 2 or Ready or Not Here I Come, but lo and behold, they did not. Also, what do I know? So let us begin with the spoiler section. Starting off the movie, we have the end of the first one, which we do in Friday the 13th, and it worked there, so let's do it here too. They extend the outro a little bit, so spoiler alert for the first one if you haven't seen it, I guess. That's enough time to pause it or get out of the video. Anyway, she's sitting on the stairs after coming out of the Ladoma's burning a mansion thing. Sits on the stairs, paramedics ask what's wrong. She's like, the classic like in-laws line, and then she passes out and they carry her off in an ambulance and they're trying to revive her, giving her like clear, that thing, whatever that's called. I'm not a doctor, right? Damn it, Jim, I'm not. Okay, that's stupid. Anyway, they revive her and she's at the hospital and she wakes up and she's cuffed to the bed. That's great, right? And an officer walks in, or a sheriff or deputy, or I don't know, some officer walked in and says basically that she is under investigation as the prime suspect in the death of the Ladoma's family, which, I mean, to be fair, not really, but kind of. Yeah, apparently they found like pieces of a body there, and obviously the blood on her wedding gown, which they have in a little sample bag, and they flopped down on the chair. I guess they picked it up from the hospital. I assume they wouldn't bring it all the way for evidence to just show her, we got you. But anyway. Oh god. Anyway, so that happens, then they're interrupted by Grace's sister, Faith. That's cute, right? Grace, Faith. I think at one point someone's like, oh, those damn Irish Catholics or something like that. But anyway, yeah, Grace and Faith, they're sisters, and there's a little bit of a backstory where they're kind of like estranged sisters. So what happened essentially is Grace, when she turned 18, she moved to New York and kind of left her sis, and her sis was choked and all that, and I think they had like a shitty home environment, whatever, and I guess, I don't know, it's family drama. We all have that, right? A little bit, maybe not to this extreme, but we all got a little bit of family drama. It's good times, right? Good times, especially on Christmas. Anyway, I'm tangenting. Let's get back on track. So she basically explains, yeah, like I'm still listed as your emergency contact, dumbass. So yeah, I know. Thanks for getting me dragged all the way out here. Anyway, it's not a very warm reunion, but nonetheless, the cop gets her and takes her out, and I guess ready to book her. She's healed enough or whatever, or recovered enough that she can do a statement officially. That's great. Meanwhile, we have so the Ladoma's family was just one family in like an overall larger satanic cult, and we learn that there's another family. What were their names? Danforth. The Danforth twins and their puppy currently held the dad. It might have sounded like a dog. Jeez. Their father. Oh my god. We're doing great, right? I'm still sick yet. You know what? I'm gonna pop one of these Ricolas. Hell yeah. Okay. So. Oh god. What were we talking about? Right. Okay. So we got Ursula, we got Titus, and we got their old father. And so what's happening is basically all the families, now that the Ladomas family has been erased, basically, like their entire bloodline, because of the events of the first film. There's a ring of power that like gives the head of the what is it called? The head of the organization or whatever, head of the board or whatever you want to call it, that currently is controlled by Ursula and Titus's father, but he's like really old. And what happens is, I guess in the rules, when a family's erased, you have to, all the families that are part of this cult compete to gain the head of the organization, essentially, regardless of who's in charge. So even though they're in charge, they have to give it up and try to win it back. So basically there's kind of an agreement of like, well, we got to keep it in the family, so you know, I'm old, just put me out of my misery. So they do. They suffocate him with a pillow, which, you know, he took one for the team for sure. They're definitely young and more spry and able to move around than he is. So that's great. Meanwhile, we learn about some of the other families. So what are the other families? We have... Sorry. Oh, God damn it. I want to not be sick one day. That would be nice. Okay, so we have, there's one family from like, I want to say Spain, there's one from somewhere in the Middle East, one from China, and one from, I think it was New Jersey or something. Anyway, the New Jersey guy doesn't really care about the rules so much, so what he does is he does a whole bunch of coke and he storms the hospital, and you see the officer as he's escorting her out just get a knife in the side of the head. And he takes out all the cops, and basically he's going to kill Grace to get the ring for himself. Because the first person to kill Grace is the one to get the power. However, I guess he missed the fine print because it has to be like the official event. You can't do it beforehand. It has to be... Anyway. So long story short, he's hunting them down throughout this hospital. And finally, when he gets to them, he's about to make the killing blow. But as he... does so, he explodes. So he broke the rule, he dies. That's another family out of the way. Cool. At which point the girls are intercepted, yes, Faith too, and drugged and brought to the Danforth mansion thing. It's like a big resort place. So there's a whole scene of them shutting it down and kicking all the guests out and all that. So I'm sure their HR department's going to have fun with that, but they need to close it because they have to try to kill the bride. Right? The thing is, in this one, she can win, technically, but she doesn't want to. She doesn't want the power and all that, right? So, anyway, they wake up and they basically say, this is the rule, this is what you're doing. And she's like, no. And eventually, they're like, okay, well then we'll just kill your sister right in front of you. She's like, okay, fine. She's kind of bullied into it, right? She doesn't really have a choice. Anyway, let's cut to the chase here. So, they end up making it out to the, like, there's a golf course. It's kind of like they give them a little head start, I guess, to make it fun, right? And Titus and Ursula have done the dastardly deed of removing the keys from all the other golf carts except for their own, so they have an advantage, obviously. They play a little dirty, but not enough, I guess, to break the rules. So anyway, they have a head start, everyone else on foot. Perfect, right? Anyway, the I apologize, I don't remember all of their names. So the Chinese family's head just sighs and brings out a little drone. So a little side note is they can only use weapons that were in the era of when their family first signed this agreement to be part of the cult. So a little bit of an unfair advantage for some families and a little bit of a fair advantage for others. So obviously, what is her name? Chen, that's her name. So Chen is, yeah, she's the head of the family from the Chinese sect or whatever, I guess. And her son's there too, and her son's just like a little, doesn't give two shits. He's just playing his little, what is it, Wii 2 or Switch 2 or whatever, I don't know. I'm so behind on Nintendo. It's a portable handheld gaming thing. That has nothing to do with the film, so it doesn't matter what he's playing. Oh my god. So, anyway, she sends this drone out. Let's get back to the story here, instead of little side things that no one cares about. And through the drone, she's saying, like, listen, guys, like, I'm not here to kill you. I got this plan, but unfortunately, Ursula, or maybe it was Titus, I'm pretty sure it was Ursula, just shoots the drone out of the sky before it can say its bit. Obviously chases them. That's great. Then there's like a sniper too, right? So his name was Ignacio. There you go. How did I remember that? I don't know. Ignacio has a sniper rifle, and it's like a very, very modern, high-powered rifle. So they make it to like a little gazebo area, and he's shooting and missing, and even his kids are like, "Oh my god, he's a terrible shot!" Like, what the hell? But you know, distance running targets, it's harder to do. I get it. Anyway, then we have one of the members of the Middle Eastern family. I think his name was Viraj. I could be wrong. I'm gonna call it that, and if it's wrong, sue me. Anyway, he is running at them with a sword too, and he's one of the only ones who's doing the mask, because I remember in the first movie they were like, yeah, they used to do the mask, but we don't do that anymore. He's sticking with tradition, so good for him, right? E for effort. Anyway, Mr. Dragunov sniper rifle on the roof there shoots a propane tank and like almost ends up killing Viraj, who, I don't know if I said this or not, but another rule is you cannot kill the other families. So if he had accidentally killed him, his family line would be erased entirely. So stakes are high. So he has a mini panic attack, but V gets up and shakes his head a little bit, and thank God. Okay, so so Ignacio's entire bloodline is safe. Fantastic. Anyway, let's cut to the chase again. So V chases them into some building, and they're in like a cleaning facility, and I think this is where they use like an angle grinder to like break the handcuff. Okay, because they're handcuffs together. I don't know if I said that or not. With this, the Ross Geller move. So fucking stupid. So they cut the thing off, so at least they're separated, and then V comes in, and he's got a sword and all that, and he's looking all badass, but there's two of them, so they can like slightly outmaneuver him, and they end up getting him inside a large industrial washing machine and hitting sanitize and literally boiling him alive, and you hear him screaming in there, and they're like, oh my god, and they're like, should we stop it? And then he stops screaming, and they're like, okay. And then he starts screaming again, and it's, you know, drawn out and fun. So that's great. When it finally stops, he falls out, and they look at him, and they're like, oh my god. Anyway. So who's next? Who was after him? Oh yeah, they call 911. They get his phone, which is not waterlogged for whatever reason. They call 911, but Ursula has wired it so that all outgoing calls from the facility wire directly to her phone. So she plays 911 operator and basically tells him, okay guys, we know where you are. Go by the front gate and, you know, stay hidden, and when there's a cop car that arrives, you guys like get in, whatever. Great. So does that happen before or after? I don't know. I think this is in chronological order, because then I'm pretty sure following that we get the showdown of Chen finally showing up and actually like saying her piece. She's got a sword to one of their necks. She's like, guys, I'm not here to kill you. I mean, if I have to, I will, obviously, but here's the deal. I've looked through the paperwork of this deal, this contract, all of the rules, and apparently there's an out for all of us. If you marry my son, he will become the head of the cult, basically, and you get to live. And if that's the case and everything's settled, there's no reason for your sister to be in danger either, whatever. And you don't even have to live with him. Like, as soon as you're married, you can like go do your own thing. And Grace is like, okay, but then I would be a part of this. And she'd be like, well, yeah. And she's like, okay, yeah, I'm not like gonna spend the rest of my life killing innocent people, essentially. Like, that's not how she rolls. Enter Ignacio with his gun, and Chen's in the way. She's like trying to stop everything, and he shoots and he misses, and there's a little bit of a scuffle, and I think it's Grace who grabs Chen's arm and ends up maneuvering it so that her sword goes through Ignacio, killing him. And, you know, since we know the rules, if you kill another family's member, your bloodline is erased entirely. So she's like, fuck, boom, gone. Oh, I forgot to mention too, this whole time, very important, this whole time, Grace is in her bloody wedding dress, still soaked with her in-laws from the first movie, because it was either a hospital gown or that in the little sample or evidence bag. So she went with that because it's a little bit more, I don't know, maneuverable. Maybe, I don't know. Her butt's not hanging out. so she's wearing the same outfit with like old blood. Now she's got new blood on her. Hooray! Right? How many families' blood can she get on her? This is exciting. Well, anyway. her son playing his little Game Boy. Everyone just like looks at him and he's not paying attention. They all just kind of like back away and he explodes. So yeah, that's her family line done. Cool. Which means that Ignacio's... Is it Ignacio's brother or... No, V's brother is now promoted to the head of his household because the brother in the washing machine, right? So he chickens out like a little puss and he signs some paperwork granting head of his bloodline's household to his wife, who is obviously pissed. She signs it. Basically, she fucks off after that. So he doesn't have to go out on the field, essentially. That's what he did. He chickened out. And I guess the wife doesn't care if they win it. She's just like, okay, whatever. And then we have, excuse me again. Ignacio's daughter. What is her name? Don't remember. But she's the ex-girlfriend of Alex Ladomas, who's the ex-husband of Grace from the first movie. She has this whole thing like, oh, you stole my man or whatever, and it's... So she's pumped. She's wanted to get a chance to kill Grace, and she got onto the property. So that's fun. Meanwhile, there's like a fight between the sisters, and Faith ends up walking off all pissed off because of like, oh, you left me. Oh, I'm glad I left you. And, you know, the whole drama thing is delightful. It's not too overbearing, but it's, you know, it's a little bit... It's just one of those plot points you put in there to make it a little spicier. But, you know, strengthen... Francesca, that's her name. Okay. Strength in numbers, right? So now they're split up. Anyway, Francesca goes after Grace, and Titus ends up cornering Faith in a hallway. Titus basically, like, beats the living shit out of Faith, like, to the point of, like, this is almost uncomfortable. And Francesca is... you know, wanting to get her revenge, so she's going all out. They ended up macing each other in the eyes. There's a whole scene of them swinging in the air at literally nothing, like not even facing each other, completely different directions, sort of like a Marco Polo thing. Eventually, Grace does end up smoking her in the head with a synthesizer that was left over from a wedding party that, coincidentally, that was evacuated from, or kicked out of the event to make room for this event. So that's fun. So Francesca's out cold. Anyway, Ursula interrupts Titus before he basically kills Faith and says, dude, like, we can literally use her as bait. We don't get anything from killing her, but keeping her alive, we can draw Grace out and then kill her that way. Wouldn't that make more sense? And he's like, okay, you know what? That actually does make sense. So they do that. They call over the loudspeaker. Hey, Grace, we got your sister. Meet us here, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and then there's like... Is this before or after that? Oh my god. I wonder if I'm like time dyslexic, because I have trouble sometimes placing things in the exact order of when they anyway, whatever. So that happens, and they she is like, okay, I'll go get my sister, I guess, and she takes a gun from the guard booth, like the entrance. I did forget a whole fucking scene. Shit. Okay, so they do confront them at some point. I apologize. I don't remember when in this. This is before they split up, so they got away from what I'm about to tell you. There's a face-off between Ursula and Titus versus Grace and Faith, and Faith has like a knife to Titus, and she's like... Grace is like, okay, so you're gonna tell us how to get the hell out of here or whatever, or you're gonna let my sister live, or something. I don't even remember what it is. Or we're gonna kill your brother. And Ursula is essentially like, no, I don't care. Kill my brother then. What do I give a shit? I'm not giving up my opportunity to, you know, be the king of the cult or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, they get away. But obviously that's stuck in Titus's head now. He's kind of like, oh yeah, you're going to give me up. Hey, let her just kill me. That's great. Anyway, fast forward. So she raids the guard booth thing, grabs a shotgun or a rifle or something. She's storming up to the house, and Francesca's waiting outside. Francesca sees her. Oh, in their first encounter, by the way, she uses a rocket launcher, Francesca. And Grace is like, oh, fuck. But when she fires it, it fires behind her. So she's, you know, she's a little bit unprepared or untrained, I guess, for all this. So she storms up despite Grace approaching with a gun. Anyway, Grace, like, triple taps her and then blows boom, boom in the chest, boom in her head. Done. She's toast. So there you go. There's your revenge, Francesca. What else? Oh yeah, and during the confrontation too, again, I forgot to mention this. Sorry. When Faith had the sword up to Titus, they're all interrupted by Buddy's wife driving out of the compound, the one that has the power now. So looks like she's gonna kill them to get the head of thing, but no, she just like moves out of the way and smashes through the gate and drives off in the night. Anyway, back to where we are. Francesca's dead. There's a whole kerfuffle between her and Titus and Ursula, and she ends up locking herself in some kind of a room. I don't know if it's a freezer or a storage closet or something, but there's a window. And Titus basically has Faith's head up to the window with a gun. He's like, "You're gonna come out here right now, or I'm gonna kill your sister." So basically, you can sacrifice yourself, or your sister dies. She does one better. She remembers the whole marriage thing. She's like, "I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. If I marry you, you automatically get the head of household." I'm using like Big Brother terms. So you know what? Let's do that. You get the head of household, and I get the veto. Oh my god. Meaning I cannot be killed. That's the end of it. You know, everything's good. You get the power, I'm in the family, we're chill. And he goes, "Okay, you know what? That works." She's like, "No, I need some confirmation. Swear." And he says, "I swear to God." He's like, No. Swear to Mr. LaBelle." And he swears to Mr. LaBelle. So it's legit. Anyway, cut to a scene where she's finally out of that disgusting wedding dress of like 6 or 7 different family members of different families and households, all coating it. She's got a new dress, which is nice. Good for her, right? I approve. Anyway, Ursula comes and visits her, and she sits down and kind of in confidence tells her, like, "Listen, Titus is kind of fucked in the head. She's genuinely worried about her brother being the head of the organization." And she sort of says to her, like, "Listen, between you and me, we can probably keep him in line for the most part." Of course, he overhears this and walks in. He's like, "Oh, is that so, eh?" Ends up choking out Ursula, snaps her neck. She's dead. He's like, "There ain't no rule about killing family." Okay, fair enough, I guess. So his bloodline doesn't get erased, obviously, because it's his sister, his family. That's in the rules that you can do that. So, or it's not in the rules at all, so meaning he can do it. So that's fun. Anyway, the ceremony happens. Beautiful in some like dungeony cult sacrificial altar basement with like a big pit. They bring out a goat that they're obviously going to sacrifice to the pit and all that stuff. And they exchange their vows and do their little Hail Satans and all that fun stuff that you do. You crazy kids these days. Oh, God. And they're married. That's great. And he does like a really gross, forceful kiss on her. And she ends up grabbing the dagger, I guess, that they were going to sacrifice the goat with or something, and shanks him in the throat. And he backs up. He's like, "What the fuck?" And Faith kicks him into the pit. And he falls and he lands on some big spike thing and dies. And she grabs the ring. And everyone else is like, "What the fuck just happened?" Someone's like, "Can she do that?" The lawyer. I forgot to mention there's a lawyer. That's the Elijah Wood character, by the way. He's kind of just like the rule teller. He nods, yeah. So she's in charge. She takes the ring, puts it on, turns to the lawyer, and she's like, "So I could do pretty much anything I want now, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, basically. Anything. Like, without limits. Yeah. Okay. I hereby remove myself from this family and organization entirely. I want nothing to do with it." Throws the ring into the pit. Someone's like, "Can she do that?" And the lawyer's like, The rules don't really say anything, but we never anticipated anyone to willingly give away that much power. So yeah, I guess technically she can. So obviously there's a free-for-all. They all want the ring. One dives into the pit and finds it, and of course someone else dives in after, and eventually everyone, except for the lawyer and the sisters, dive in, and the goat, obviously, dive into the pit, and they're all fighting each other for it, and eventually dawn comes. So dawn is the official deadline, and Mr. LaBelle wasn't very happy apparently, because all of a sudden you see like blood splatters coming out of the pit as individual members are exploded, and then a big gush of blood. So I guess it just killed them all at once. And then Buddy, who gave his wife all the power, is like, "Oh my god, because I gave up my power, I'm safe, guys, this is..." And then he explodes. And of course, his blood is the one that gets on the girls, because, you know, they couldn't escape not covered in blood, right? That wouldn't be in tune with either of the movies so far, so that's great. Anyway, they're like, okay, we're free to go. Lawyer says, yeah. Okay. And they grab the goat, and then on the little throne there, you see Mr. LaBelle appear in smoke for like a half second and nod, and then phase out into existence again. So they have his approval. They walk out with this goat. I guess it's their pet now, and basically agree to, reconcile and start over, start fresh, no more grudges or whatever, and be the kind of sisters they always should have been, and all that jazz. That's the end of the movie. So what did I think of this movie? It was fun. So the first movie was... There was comedy in this too, but I feel like there was more comedy in the first one. And this one was a little bit more intense. So depending on what vibe you want in these films, that'll tell you which one you'll like more, essentially. As far as the deaths and stuff go, I'm trying to think which one was... Man, there's that one death that I can't say, but it involves... it's one of the first deaths. That's pretty brutal. So this one might have better deaths, maybe. That's tough to say, though. I think the first one had more deaths. Like, not like... I don't know. I'm not going to go into detail, because, again, spoilers. I'm trying to not do that. But I think the first one technically had more deaths, maybe. That being said, did I like this one more than the first one? And I'm not sure. I actually watched the first one again before going to the theater to see this one. So, I think the first one is just slightly higher still, but in no way does that diminish how fun this one was either. Or two, or whatever. I can't English. Anyway. Yeah, like I said, the deaths were pretty good. They were pretty creative. It was cool seeing Sarah Michelle Gellar and Elijah Wood in a movie. Buffy and the Hobbit. That's kind of cool. Or Lord of the Rings, not the Hobbit. Anyway, that was neat. Always fun when they're in a film. I was kind of thinking too, when they made a second one, like, how are you going to continue the story after, like, the first one's kind of resolved, right? Well, they figured it out. So now I'm wondering, are they going to do a third one? And how are they going to extend the lore beyond the extended lore of the second one? Or are they going to just leave it at 2? I don't know. Would I go see a third one? Yeah, absolutely. The first 2 have been great. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Samara Weaving obviously is phenomenal. She's like the up and coming, well, not up and coming. She's now established pretty much as the new Scream Queen. And I know the actress who plays Faith, and I can't remember her name for the life of me. I apologize. She was also very good. The comedy bits that we did have comedy still, but not like as much, I feel. But the bits of comedy that it did have were quite good. Again, without spoilers, just like the misuse of the weapon in one scene was kind of amusing. That doesn't give away anything, so you don't know what I'm talking about unless you've seen it, right? So that's fun. Yeah, overall, the pacing was really solid too. I mean, the slowest part was the very beginning part where you're rewatching something that you've already seen. But I mean, that wasn't even... It sets the tone, right? So that's cool. What else? What else can I say that's of any value whatsoever to someone watching this? Just go see it. I mean, it's in the theaters, probably. I mean, this will be released, I think, a week after I saw it. But I assume it'll still be in the theaters, because I can't see it not doing well. So, yeah, go see it. That's my advice to you. Other than that, ratings are good, right? You like those? Sure, we'll give you a rating. I'm gonna give it just a flat 8, because it was quite good. Now, if I rated the first one higher, which I don't remember, then I'm gonna contradict myself saying I liked the first one just slightly better, but I feel like an 8 is safe. I feel like that's gonna be a good number for it either way. Opinions change on movies, right? Who knows? What the first one was, I certainly don't remember, but this one is an 8, and that's what it's going to stay as. That being said, we'll leave it at this because, yeah, I don't... Chances are you didn't even make it this far into the video anyway, so for that reason, we'll end it here. But yes, go see it. Very good. If you can see it in the theater, I recommend it because some of the splatter effects are always great on a big screen, right? All right, take her easy. Bye.